This is the porch after a snowstorm. There she is, snowbank on the porch, waving a flag, waving a towel out the door, in her housecoat. What a sense of humor she had. Now this is taken in 1972. And I wouldn't be surprised we were at the beaches up in Rome or someplace like that. And we are partying. And Helen's dressed for the occasion. Outside, getting a tan in Florida. Of course, she didn't want to get too much of a tan. She had a big hat on. This year, she spent in Myrtle Beach. Helen and Marge, they decided they'd throw a party, and they'd go dressed up a little. Oh, those two, we'd go someplace. Every place we go, Marge and I, Helen and I'd go. They thought Helen and Marge were sisters. They were so much alike. They did so many things together. And everybody would think. The first impression was that Helen Ettinger here and her best friend, Marge Moses, were sisters. They acted like sisters. Very, very close friends. A few pictures of Helen at random. This was Helen at Roger and Neela's with Marge and Ike. We always seemed to stop at Roger and Neela's on our way, one way or the other. Helen and I, with Kurt and Ruthie, on Bethany Beach. We went there for we went for a holiday and a party as usual. This is Helen at Myrtle Beach, and with Kurt, Helen, Ruthie, Marion. We're having a party. Our Myrtle Beach days. This is the crew at Myrtle Beach. Another cocktail party with Helen and Kurt, myself, Marion and Donnie. And obviously, Ruthie's taking the picture. About that time, we'll throw this one in. The Four Fish Girls, Marion and Ruthie, Mill and Helen. Marion and Ruthie, Mill, and of course, Helen. She always had a good time. She always made a good time. She was the organizer. She could run things. At her wedding anniversary, they had a party for her, and this was Helen before I turned her completely gray. Two of us usually went to Cape Cod. Helen loved it. She loved it at the shore and at the Cape Cod. She loved it at Cape Cod. She loved it every place where there was any scenery. This is Helen on the beach at Cape Cod. This is another Cape Cod scene of Helen, sitting on the wall with the scenes in the background. This is the Queen at Tarpon Springs, Florida. Unusual when she would pose for the pictures. She always had the camera in her hand. Like this, her picture being taken. She'd say, "Take that camera away." But this is Helen on Bethany Beach. Not on Bethany Beach. This is her along the Atlantic Ocean. We went to Cape May with Marge and Ike and Kurt and Ruthie. 1 year, and this is Helen sitting on the beach. This is Helen on the beach at Myrtle Beach on a cool day. Obviously, she's got a coat on, but she loved it at Myrtle Beach. She got everyone to go there. She loved to walk the beach and the spacious sand she could walk in. Helen and the seagulls on Myrtle Beach. Come out. But what Helen loved about Myrtle Beach is the sunrises and the sunsets. I doubt if this will focus very good on a screen. But sunsets and sunrises, that's what she loved. 1 year she found a way for us to take a tour to the Bahamas. And Mill and Jay went with us. And this is myself, Helen, and Jay, poolside in the Bahamas. Oh, what a beautiful trip that was. She had a good time. We'd swim in the pool, the ocean. She really enjoyed herself. Some pictures of the reason I seem to be in every one of the pictures. There isn't anything in life that Helen and I didn't do together. Now, as you can see, this is back when the 60s, when Helen's hair was darker. We managed to go to Florida about a month every winter after 1971. In 1971, we went to Europe and called on my brother. And he took us every place. And that was something else. She really enjoyed that trip. She really enjoyed seeing things, different things. And she enjoyed people. She even managed on some of these outings to make sure we had matching I don't know what it is. But I sure don't look very mannish in that outfit. I like the socks, too, I wear. They said she enjoyed her backyard and her pool. Pictures of her, I haven't got much to say. They were all trips, and parties, and every place. As you can see, it's another Christmas party. We did get Helen on a boat once in a while. In 1,000 Islands. We were up there with Kurt and Ruthie and Marge and Ike, Helen and Don Schaefer. And the next year, Helen passed on. Well, I've always said she had a way of doing things. And that winter, that place burned down. She made damn sure I didn't go back there again. Of us at a wedding. This is about the last wedding we went to. I think it was Jenny's sister's wedding. Her granddaughters loved to do her hair. She'd sit on the floor. Jill and Jessica, they would mess with her hair. She'd sit very patiently and let them do it. Jillian and Jessica doing Grandma's hair. Ed, she got her hair done quite often. This is a picture of Helen down to the farm protesting that she's getting her picture taken in her bathing suit. I can hear her now. Picture taken in Washington, D.C. when my brother Clyde lived there. We were younger then. Obviously, we were younger. This is the type of time you like to remember. She'd been on one of her crash diets, and she did a good job. I've been through my way of life, how I grew up and what I did. I've shown you pictures of Helen in different places, and what she'd done. And this is a picture of Helen when she was younger and at home. Now, in the summer, for Helen to work in the muck and turn in, wash vegetables, wash celery, bunch them, put in work, in that kind of work. And when you peg celery or cabbage plants, and the muck is like being on hot sand in the beach. Now this is what Helen did in summers. So work was nothing new to this girl. So that by the time she got out of high school, she was determined to do something. The girl you're looking at was Helen Mary Fish. When she got out of high school, she went to Rochester Business of Tech. She went to RBI, Rochester Business Institute, to become a secretary. Now, in order to do this, she worked in different homes for her room and board in order that she could afford to go to school. And that isn't the easiest thing in the world. I was more fortunate. Mine was paid for. But Helen had to work for hers. And when she got through with that, before she got through, she got a job in in Garlock's for Mr. Hamilton, because no matter what you say, Helen was smart. She was smart and she knew how to work. And then, that was after the war years. Helen and I got married in 1945. And we got married in Florida, mainly because my father never even spoke to Helen while I was overseas because I had become engaged to her. Now Helen put up with this, and we got married because he would not go to the wedding. So we got married in Florida. He was dead set against it anyway. But this girl, she put up with that. She stuck by me. Now, I had a lot of jobs in my life, and when she got married, she always had a beautiful voice. She sang at weddings. She sang at parties. She was a leader in the church choir. And I couldn't carry a note. I think opposite attract. That's how we happened to get together, because we were sure direct opposite. Now this girl, in our married life, she had 3 children. And I wasn't the easiest man to get along with. And if there was an argument, Helen was the first to say, "I'm sorry," when it wasn't even her fault. I could a lot of German me, I could be pretty stubborn. But not Helen. Helen always gave in. She always led all the organizations. She always was she was always at a party. She was an organizer and a pusher. She made things get done. You've got to have a person around like that. But she was a worker. And she belonged to the girls all belonged to a sewing club. And the same group met all the years of our life. Married lives at the same New Year's party. We all went to different houses. The same group. And this house of mine, or ours, was a place for the family to get together, to throw showers and parties. They always seemed to wind up here. Of course, her mother lived here, and after her mother lived upstairs, and she watched out for her. We even bought a golf cart so she could cart the older people around the farm. And that was Helen's toy. I can still, every time I look up, I can still see that golf cart going wide open with Helen on it. And later in life, she ran the health center. She was on the tree commission. She was a wheel in the Democrat Party. And she was Bill's staunchest supporter at election times. She worked hard for Bill. And it's too bad. We knew the difference the year she was gone. Now this picture of Helen and her mother. Of course, Helen was single when this picture was taken. But still, that was Helen. Helen and her mother. And Ruth, she lived here. And when she passed on, it was an awful shock to Helen. Helen was awful close to her. She made sure she went to the doctor. She made sure she was cared for. And she wasn't the only one. When my father got sick in 1969 with leukemia, this girl would work in a post office all day long, or in the morning, come home, make some kind of stuff for supper, put it on the stove. When she'd come home from work, she'd take a hot meal. She'd send a hot meal down to my father. And this went on for 1 solid year. And we got down there one night with her supper after a year. My father looked at Helen and he said, "Helen, man, you're a good cook, but I've never liked you." I thought, and she took it. You know, he'd say she should have slapped his face and walked out. I mean, how could somebody be that cruel to her after she fed him for a year? Helen was a wonderful cook. Everybody loved her cooking. Of course, a good cook always throws parties. You know, I don't know what to say much about her. Too much. She was quite a character, and she put up with me for 40-some years. And we went to the doctor when Helen didn't feel good. He called her in, I sat there. He looked her right straight in the eye, and he said to Helen, "Helen, I hate to tell you this. You've got 3 to 6 months to live, and I'll keep you out of pain." She looked him in the eye, and she said, "Gee, Doc, thanks a lot. You're a big help today." And she took it. I don't know. She had an inner faith that was something else. Now I thought, when I built houses, I left the legacy. Someone would say, "Well, Bill Ettinger built that house," or "He did that." But on Easter Sunday, there was 32, 33 plants in this house of people that wished her well. And the outpouring she received from people was unbelievable. Her goodwill and her friendship had paid off in more than anything I could ever do in my lifetime. Down at a cabin where we partied all the time, making something for someone. This picture, for some reason, of all the pictures I have ever, typifies Helen Fish Ettinger. This was my wife, my lover, and my best friend. Ironic enough, people laugh at me. The only thing I ever bought in my married life was shoes. Helen loved to shop. She would shop 24 hours a day. And we went across the country. I have sat in every mall that we ever went by. because she had to go in and look. She was something else. And when she passed on, we swear that Kmart's stock dropped 10 points that day. But that's that's the way it goes. To end with this, as I was looking for pictures to make in this, I come across the picture that Helen carried in a pack in a little booklet of me when I was overseas. And when I pull this out to take it so I could take a picture of it, this fell out of it. This is what Helen thought while I was overseas. And it's ironic that here I stand, and how true those words are for me today. And this is exactly how I feel about Helen Mary Fish Ettinger. Helen Mary Fish